Do you want quality scenery like these rock formations for your tabletop games? Stay tuned to see how you can get your own set made by me. Step 1. Gathering materials. For this build I use spare foam and a variety of craft paint and other supplies I have listed in the description below. Step 2. Sculpting the pieces. I generally make 3 rock formations of different sizes when building this set of terrain. I want several rock spires set on a single rock base. I specifically used 3 spires for the small, 5 for the medium, and 7 for the large. This 3-5-7 formula is an artist's rule of composition and typically adds more visual interest to your pieces. I make sure to vary the size of each rock spire I am gluing onto the base, as this will make it look more natural. I tend to go for a more smoothed stone appearance on this set. At the same time, I want it to look like stone, so I try to leave jagged lines to help resemble the rocky appearance. I do my best to fit the pieces together as I carve them out. For ease of painting later on, I try not to leave awkward spaces for a brush to get into. When I hot glue the pieces together, I try to both glue the spires to each other and to the base. This will give the scenery a bit more durability, which is often needed for tabletop gaming. Step 3. Adding some sand. I use white PVA glue and sand to partially fill in the seams between the spires and the bases. I use an old brush to push the glue around a little and make sure it goes deeper into the cracks. For this set, I've sifted the larger pebbles out of play sand because I want it to look like chunks of rock that have fallen and gathered into the crevices. Step 4. Painting the black undercoat. For this step, I use a mixture of black paint, white PVA glue, gloss varnish, and water. This layer will help strengthen the scenery and help add depth to each piece when you start adding layers of lighter paint. You can use whatever recipe you want or just use black paint. I keep hearing that Mod Podge and black paint work well, but it sounds similar to what I use for my terrain. Whatever you do though, do not use black spray paint as it will melt the foam. I make sure to coat each piece of scenery completely, including the bottom, with this undercoating. To get the deeper crevices, I use a smaller round brush. Step 5. Painting a gray base coat. In this step, I mostly cover each piece in a medium to dark gray acrylic craft paint. I try to leave some of the black showing through, especially in those deeper recesses. This will add more variety and depth to the scenery, as well as promote a more natural look. Step 6. Overbrushing taupe and gray. In this step, I switch back and forth from taupe to gray. I use both wet blending and overbrushing to get the mottled effect I'm going for. Overbrushing is accomplished by loading a small amount of paint on your brush, then wiping some of the excess off. When applying the paint, it works best to keep your brush at an angle so the bristles don't go into the cracks. In the art community, this is usually called scumbling. Wet blending is a miniature painting term and is also known as wet on wet in the art community. This is simply painting one wet color over another wet color. Step 7. Highlighting. For this step, I highlight each piece of terrain with a cream or off-white acrylic craft paint, using a light-handed dry brush. Dry brush is a painting technique in which a paint brush that is relatively dry but still holds paint is used. To accomplish this, load a small amount of paint into your brush and wipe it off on a paper towel. Then, brush lightly onto the desired surface. It must be applied to a surface that is 100% dry, or you could get bleeding instead of the effect we are going for. Step 8. Black wash. In this step, I completely cover each rock formation in a black wash. A wash is a technique resulting in a semi-transparent layer of color. In this case, we are doing a black wash. For my recipe, I use black India ink, water, gloss varnish, and a drop of dish soap. Some people just water down black paint to the consistency they want. Use whatever recipe works for you. Step 9. Clear coating. I completely cover each piece of terrain in matte varnish. This will protect the terrain and help prevent chips to the paint. I usually use the kind you paint on by hand, but you can use spray matte varnish if you like. Just be careful to spray in light layers so you don't melt the foam. This build does vary a lot, but the final project should look something like this. So yeah, I'm Jeremiah. If you would like to receive terrain that you've seen like I've done in this video, you can watch for free giveaways on Instagram and Twitter. Just sign up for whatever it is. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. The links are in the description. Also, if you want to unlock my commissions and get discounts for my Etsy store, go ahead and be a patron. The link for my Patreon is down below. Also, you can just buy from me on eBay or Etsy. That's the main thing I do. It's an income source for me, and it's a pleasure to bring products like that to you guys. So yeah, that's that. I got my first dislike, which was bound to happen, and not too butthurt by it. But if you don't like this video, I would appreciate some constructive criticism. Let me know what it is you want to see, or whatever it is I'm doing wrong that I could improve on. Yeah, and if you just want to have suggestions or whatever, if you want to just tell me some things you'd like to see built, let me know in the description below. I'm more than willing to build whatever. I'm an artist by trade, so a challenge is good. For now, my plan is to just show you how I build all of the stuff I have up on Etsy and eBay, and I will be posting once a week. So go ahead and you can just check those out if you want. You don't have to buy anything, just for an idea of what you're going to see. It's not everything I'm going to be doing. There's some pretty cool stuff coming up. Why I'm doing this is for your viewing pleasure. And for my personal growth. It's my sole purpose in life to create things that people love. So if you don't love it, let's get you loving something I do. Yeah, thank you for accepting me in this community and for my subscribers that I have so far. Thank you.